Hello. Thank you for waiting for me for so long. I appreciate all of your diligence to just waiting to hear me speak. All right, so they gave me a strict 15 minutes. I'm going to be super fast and not as chatty as I usually am. But I'm Joe Wallace with Adobe. I've been at Adobe for 16 years now. My career at Adobe could drive a car, which is humbling. It's been a long time. I started the data governance program about 10 years ago when it was just me and I was a one-man band. In the past few years, we've grown a lot. We have about 30 in total now between our entire team. And I really think that AI is an accelerant, for one thing, not just from a development perspective and a data perspective and everyone being scared perspective, but in a governance perspective, this becomes very, very important. Our jobs here collectively are very, very important, and they're interesting to people now. I was just visiting my parents in Indiana, and I said, I do data governance, and whereas my grandma would have instantaneously fallen asleep and my sister would have started checking her Instagram, they actually said, what does that mean? What do you do? Data and AI governance, what is that? So the industry has really changed. We're the pioneers. Welcome to the revolution. This is awesome. So I'm going to just quickly kind of talk through some observations that I've seen that we've implemented at Adobe. And then I think that we as governance practitioners really need to be thinking about as we go forward and as that wave that has arrived continues to wash over us. So first things first, shift down. I guarantee you everybody in this room has had someone say, we have to shift left in data governance. It's happened, right? And we've shifted left and now we're in architecture review boards and we're like looking at use cases and we're doing all this stuff and that's great. That's not scalable in this world when literally every person at your company is a developer with their best friend Claude. And so now we're talking no longer about shifting left at Adobe, we're talking about shifting down. So what does that mean? Shifting down means going down into the very bedrock of what we do. And I have a lot of analogies. This one I'm workshopping, so give me feedback. If you like it, great. If you hate it, don't tell me. I only accept compliments and 5-star reviews. But what we effectively want to create is an environment where we're able to go to our business partners, to legal, to privacy, to product, who is building all this stuff, and say, look, the world is your oyster. This is the Garden of Eden. I've given you access to all this stuff. I know it's okay for you to use this data because it's governed and I already looked at it. I already classified it. I already know what it is. I know it's okay for you to come over here and use this agent or this platform or this whatever because we already looked at it. We have these agreements. We've done all this stuff, right? We're not shifting left. We're shifting down. So we want to be able to say, and I know in this analogy, like we are God, which is why it's not a great analogy, but we're creating this Garden of Eden and we're saying, look, go forth and multiply. Here's all this data. You can go do anything you want because I know you're already going to anyway, even if I tell you no. Go do it. You can. Except over here. This part's walled off. Don't touch that or you'll get in trouble. I'll get in trouble. Everyone gets in trouble. Don't touch that part. That's what we want to be able to create, an environment where we can let people be free to go do whatever they're going to do because, look, they're going to do it anyway. Right? With AI, everyone's a developer. Everyone can find data. Everyone can do whatever they want all the time, whenever they want. And we need to make sure that the things that they want to do already have those guardrails in place. So we're talking about shifting down. It's by default. It's governance. It's infrastructure. We're not a checkbox anymore in governance. We're an accelerant to the business. We're allowing them the ability to say, I can just go do what I want. I don't have to go through use cases, and I don't have to go check out whatever and have a privacy review and James and legal go look at this and JC and privacy go look at that. I don't have to do that anymore. I can run. And if your company is not running with AI, they're going to fall behind. And they're going to run anyway, by the way. They don't care what we say. They're going to run anyway. That's why we have to shift down, not shift left. If you shifted left far enough, you'd have to be literally inside a person's mind because with AI, the only thing stopping you is your imagination. I can't be in everyone's mind. I can't even be in my own mind. So shift down, don't shift left. Next, 3 personas that we've seen are kind of emerging from the murk. One is a model developer. There aren't that many of these guys, but they're powerful. They're the ones who are building net new models. They're the ones who are training models. They're the ones who are very data hungry and say, hey, I want to build a model that does, I don't know, whatever, model stuff. And they're looking for that data. They're looking to train model. They consume a lot of data. They need a lot of data. Again, there aren't that many of them, but they're the ones who are thinking, is this data okay for me to use? We need to govern those people. And the way we govern those people is by giving them curated data sets and saying, look, here's a marketplace. This is the Amazon of data. IL1 has public data that we've already approved that you can use. IL2 has Adobe data sets. So I guess if you guys have Adobe data sets, we have a problem. Your company's data sets are in IL2, and IL3 has synthesized data, or you can synthesize it yourself and build out of there, right? That's how we help those guys. These are the guys who are building products that are going to our customers, at least at Adobe. The second one, product developers. These are guys who are building whatever enhancement to whatever product. It could be somebody building something internally. So, Karen in HR wants to build something to help do Karen things. They're building things. People are doing this all the time. There needs to be one place for them to be able to register. And by registering, they are de facto governed, okay? The second one. The third one is the dangerous one. These are the weekend warriors. These are jabronis like me who have a cloud license and just see what they can do, right? Like I said, the only thing stopping you is your imagination when you have AI, and all of our business partners are the same way. Shadow AI, people just doing stuff for fun. People doing stuff that they build and they're like, hey, this worked really well. I'm going to give it to Raghu, who's going to give it to Atmic, and it's going to expand. We have multiple of those different kinds of use cases at Adobe. The thing we need there is the ability to say, look, what are people doing? What is out there? We need to catch it. We need to find it, and then we need to bring it into the product developer lane. So those are kind of the three personas that I'm seeing emerge. You guys probably have other ones, but that's what I'm seeing at Adobe come out, and the way we need to think about each one of those things. Because like I said, they're gonna build it anyway. We can put 100 speed bumps, but they're gonna find a way to swerve around them and come out the other side. We have to be on top of it. All right, so here's how we're on top of it. I call it the governance stack. Identify, use, protect. That's kind of the framework that we've had from the beginning of time. We need to identify, use, protect, identify, use, protect. So it's the same thing, identify, use, protect, where we spent the past 10, 15 years trying to catch up in data governance and do identify, use, protect, and tell people, here's how you control access patterns, here's how you define your data, here's how you build the lineage, here's how you register this and register that, right? We have to teach the robots to do the same thing now. And so that's where data discovery becomes very important. Adobe has a lot of data. Like, we have a lot of data, okay? We don't know what all of it is. We've been Calibra customers for 10-ish years now. We've done all the lineage. I have asked thousands of people to register a table and label a column and do all this stuff. But at scale, with AI, it's not gonna work anymore. It's too fast, right? Agents move too fast for a human to be in the loop. It's just gonna do whatever it does. We don't have the opportunity to sit there and say, okay, now let me check that. Yep, good job, robot. Nope, we gotta govern the robots. We have to teach them how to identify, use, protect by default. So you have to know what you have. That's your data discovery piece. You have to classify and protect it, because just knowing it exists is great. You can't govern it if you don't know it exists. But you also can't use it properly if you haven't classified it and don't know what you can do with it. And so that's the second part. We're building out multiple initiatives. We have a lot of work that we're doing around classifying data at exabyte scale. It's a lot of work. My guys over here, this table, my Adobe guys, they spend a lot of time on the classification piece. That's hard. At a company with 40,000 employees, multiple exabytes of data, that's hard. So we spend a lot of time doing that. Once you've done those two pieces, you know it exists, you know how you can use it. Now you have to put it in a catalog. You have to build a way for people to access that data. Not people, just people, also robots. You have to build a way for those robots and people to be able to consume what it is. This is where your true value is. You have to do those foundational things first. But the true value is in the unlock that comes with the catalog piece. With the ability to say, okay, robot, here's all this stuff, do your thing. I already know it's governed. It's the Garden of Eden. Go nuts. That's where you can really build efficiency. That's where you can innovate quickly, you can roll things out quickly, you can allow your business partners to do what they need to do to generate revenue and raise their stock price so you can retire earlier, because that's the goal, right? That's my goal. I don't know if it's your goal, that's my goal. Finally, we built an orchestration layer, because where Before people would come and it'd be a people-centric thing like, oh, I need to find a table that exists over here. Now it becomes something that robots need to know what they can access, how they can access. It's got to be fast, really fast. Everything's fast. So we have one platform that we use, happens to be Calibra, that's why I'm here. But one orchestration point where it can be accessed by people and by robots. So they can see everything that's been cataloged and classified and discovered. And so when you build those pieces together, you become an accelerant, you become an enabler. Governance is no longer a checkbox where you're going and asking people for their use case reviews, or you're going and saying, Jeffrey, I need you to label your column, please. I don't know what this is. It's not that anymore. It used to be. I spent 10 years asking people to label stuff. Now it's got to be happening at scale. So the orchestration piece becomes very important because that's your value. Like I said, before when I would go to like, I don't know, a party with my family and I would say, governance, it was the most boring thing in the world. Even you guys are probably bored when people talk about governance. It's not that exciting, or wasn't. Now we're at a place where we're the foundation. If we don't do this governance right, we're going to fall behind, and we're going to have all kinds of problems for ourselves, for our companies, for our neighbors, for everyone. We have to do this right, or it's all going to fall apart. And governance at an AI pace is super fast. You have to have done the data governance piece before you get to the AI governance part. Because AI in and of itself isn't like super scary. It's not Skynet, right? But I guarantee you, well, I don't guarantee it. I'm guessing. If you go into Copilot or whatever you guys use and say, find me a file that has whatever information in it, people are probably going to be able to find it because bad governance 10 years ago. It's exposing us. It's showing us where we weren't strong before, and it's giving us the opportunity to go and fix those things quickly. So it's a double-edged sword. And it's a fun time, you guys. Like, this is a fun time to be in this job. It's a fun time to be in governance. And I fully expect us to go from the back room nerd who's like telling people to check a box up to the top, because people are going to have to go through us to be able to know that what they're doing is something they can sell to their customers. It's something that they can consume internally without any problems or worries or fears. We're on top now. The little nerds became like the kings because that's fundamental to us being able to be successful as an industry, right? Whether it be technology or whatever else it is, that piece is fundamental to the success of our companies. And if we don't do it right, we're in trouble, right? We can't retire. And I really, really want to retire soon. So this is a big point of focus for me. So I guess that was mostly, I just think, you know, as we continue to grow as an industry, it's super exciting. And I know from an Adobe perspective, we have gone from having to ask people things to them coming to us. And we're the true players and drivers of stuff that I never dreamed of before. And I think if we can land this right, if we can think, identify, use, protect, and now orchestrate for the robots, if we can think about how we serve those three personas, if we can think about shifting down into the foundation of what we're doing and what our companies and businesses are doing, so it's by default and it's not something we're having to ask people to comply with, that's a game changer. And that's the companies that are successful are doing that. I have 2 minutes, so I'm gonna say one more thing. The thing that I worry about, right, is if you look, everyone's like NIST, everyone's ISO 42001, EUAI Act, all this stuff, right? Like, okay, who's 42001 certified? Anyone in here? No, okay, not yet. That's great. Is anyone like pursuing 42001 certification right now? No? Okay, interesting. Well, here's what I'm here to say. Those frameworks are great. Those things are great. And we have to comply with the EUAI Act. They're old. They're too old. They talk about humans in the loop and stewards and checkboxes and all this stuff. It's old. It's not going to scale. You're going to end up being audit ready and risk blind because you're going to have spent time checking boxes and being ready to go and be in compliance with these things. Meanwhile, some guy's agent over here is doing all kinds of crazy stuff that's deleting a production database. Some company just had a production database deleted in 9 seconds. They didn't say, hello computer, go delete my database. It just did it. That's how fast it is. 9 seconds deleting a production database. Took 30 days to recover. It's just going to do it. And NIST doesn't cover that, and ISO 42001 doesn't cover that, and the EUAI Act doesn't cover that. We have to be on the front line. We have to be the ones who are covering that. We have to be thinking ahead. We can't be the checkbox people. We got to move out in front, because otherwise it's going to come over us, and who knows what the world's going to be like after that. So, all right, I got the flashing 0. Thank you. I appreciate it. Thank you for waiting for me. Thank you.